We're All Going to the World's Fair is a new indie kind of. It's a found footage hybrid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a laptop hybrid found footage thing that has more traditional scenes in it of narrative filmmaking, but with a lot of found footage in it. But it is not completely found footage. Those are rarer. You either go one way or the other, but this person decided to go both, and this was written, directed, edited by what I can see a newer filmmaker. So congrats to her. I mean, it's always great to see young filmmakers taking on projects, and obviously the budget was probably $0, probably $0, and budget. That's amazing.
Yes.
Now, so we are always supporters of stuff like this, and we always want to give it its fair shot and whatnot. And I think that the main girl who plays this main character in this does a great job. I think she
was wonderful.
I think she gives a good performance. Unfortunately, the film, I like the concept, because this is, if anybody's going to like this film, it's this person right here, because this is so up your alley.
Yeah.
This is like the whole, ARG.
Yeah. Internet horror is something that I've been super interested in, and I have not yet actually looked up the World's Fair and if it's a real thing and what
if it's just
what it is. But I'm going to. I'll do it later. But yeah, I've been talking to you about ARG concepts and wanting to kind of dive into that.
Didn't we see in the opening it said based on webisodes?
That's what I thought too. So
yeah.
I just need to learn more about it because I don't know anything about it.
Sure. But this is, it's like internet, like Slender Man type stuff, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really excited whenever you told me the concept of the film, and I like a lot of it. I think that a lot of it's done really well, and like you said, the actress, her performance I thought was really great. There's actually a scene that genuinely scared me, but
creeped you out.
It creeped me out, but I mean, it was great. But as far as how I felt at the end of the movie, I don't know. I definitely would have liked to see a little bit more happening. But I don't think that was the intention of the filmmaker. I think it's supposed to be a kind of ambiguous story.
They made the film they wanted to make.
Which I also appreciate, and I like that angle. So I don't know. There might be some specific things as we're talking will come up for what didn't quite work for me.
Well, okay, so this film is about a young girl, an indeterminate age. I would say
she seems like she's a teenager, so late
teens. Yeah. She seems to be a loner, and she is trying to reach out on the internet for attention. I suppose
friendship, attention.
And so she takes on the World's Fair Challenge, which we had a really hard time deciphering what she was saying the first two times she said it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the challenge, and we were like, the what? And she said it another time, we're like, the fucking what? Do I have to put on subtitles? I can't understand this. Because she has this really weird accent that comes and goes.
It's really cute.
There's one where she's out on the swings.
Yeah,
or the swing that's outside her house, and we're like, what the fuck is this accent?
It doesn't come
but then other places, she's totally American, no accent at all. And maybe it's for the videos.
That's what I was gonna say.
Puts on this
or even
character
because of the challenge, if that's part of it. Because I don't think it happens until after that we started noticing her accent.
No,
in the beginning
when
we had a hard time understanding just for a couple lines, I do think that was partly intentional. I think that her character, like you said, is really lonely. She's very isolated, very awkward,
very meek, very
meek and shy, and she practices recording the intro to her video a few times, and it's it's endearing and it's very sad. I felt really bad for her pretty much throughout the movie, because it's just that there's tons of people like this out in the world that just are craving connection with somebody, and they're just it's just shyness can be so crippling.
Yeah.
so crippling if you don't have like support and encouragement from people.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but so she
No,
does the World's Fair challenge in hopes of having something happen to her.
It's like a horror game, right? And so it's mostly propped up on this idea that it is a role-playing game. And she starts to talk to this guy online, and she's watching videos every night of people who are also going through this. And us as the viewers are supposed to, figure out whether or not what she's experiencing is supernatural or psychological. That, I think, is where the film lacks heavily. And it's in that line, that blurred line between, is this happening to her or is it psychological?
Yeah.
It leans way more one way, and it does, it kind of tries to play with that a little bit, like, is this happening? But as we said, I think that the filmmaker made the exact film that she wanted to make, and this is the exact intention. I think this, what we're not resonating with, is our own desires.
I think you're right.
This is the kind of movie we would want to see.
Sure.
Right? And that's not fair to the film,
No.
but it's the truth.
It's just the bias that we have. But I agree. I think that it was, made the way it was intended to be, and it's a very subtle film.
Very.
But I appreciate subtlety, and especially with something that it is kind of psychological or supernatural, I think that can be used, really successfully. But I do, I guess, from my perspective, feel like there could have been more to happen that made us as the viewer question what the reality of the situation was. And I would have enjoyed that, because it's, that's one of the fun things about those types of movies, is like being able to argue or discuss one side versus the other. And at the end of this, I'm 100% on one side, and I don't feel like there's really any room to, play with the idea of it being the other thing. So.
Agreed. And I think it would have had way more impact in the ending because of what ends up happening between her and the guy she's speaking to. If it would have climaxed, more, and had us really questioning things because of where it ends up going, it would have added to the drama, and it would have added to the tension of like, has this person completely lost their fucking mind, or is something happening to them, or whatnot? And it very much leaves this extremely ambiguous ending that she kind of thinks one way. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about what ended up actually happening, but whether or not it's psychological or supernatural, I'm 100% on. It's just what ended up actually happening with the characters after that. I'm like, I don't know what happened here, and I'm fine with that. I just wish there was a little bit more there in the last third of the film. I think that the build-up was fine. There's definitely some places where I'm like, okay, we could probably speed this up a little bit. But I was fine with the first 2/3, and it was when we got into that last act that I was like, all right, here's the time
to climax,
to go pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And to really, but that's not the film they wanted to make, I don't think, right? Or maybe they were limited by their budget.
Yeah,
and they
that's
felt
possible.
like, I don't know, but like, you watch a movie like, Host or something,
Sure.
right? That slowly elevates, and then it just goes batshit in the end. But I'm assuming that's not the kind of movie that they want to make, and I just wanted to be scarier.
Yeah.
And it really, really lacks in the horror, and it's more of a psychological dissection of a lonely girl, and what she'll do for attention, and that I like. I just feel like that was missing something to really get me drawn in, but a very good first effort from both the filmmaker and the main actress. I think that they both should keep at it.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
There's a lot that I think
And
the atmosphere
I like the movie.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I
there's
wanna
a
say
lot
that.
That's really good. The atmosphere for me, I thought was amazing. I really liked the soundtrack too. I thought that the music that was used was very eerie and like it just fit really well. And even like the combination, like the hybrid of found footage and the traditional style of filming, I think that there were some really cool shots there.
And it's an inspiring film for, independent filmmakers that just want to make their movie.
Yes.
This should be proof to anybody that if you've got any talent, you don't really need a budget. Just make the movie you want to make, and don't worry about what money you have. So it should be one of those films that lights a fire under our ass to do something. And then the people who made this movie can watch our movie and tell us how much we suck.
It's constructive criticism is always
round.
great. So,
Sure.
But this was, I was really happy to see it. So, this movie.
Yeah.
It was not a waste of time or anything like that.
Yeah. I think if you're like really into indie films that are like kind of about the more psychological aspect and almost like coming of age kind of things, although she is alone almost the entire film, so you'll find an appreciation for it, but otherwise I wouldn't recommend it. It's not for a mainstream audience that's gonna want jump scares and tons of stuff going on, and that's definitely not this film. So if that's the kind of film you're looking for, no, don't watch it. It's not. You're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
Or rent it, give them the money, and then don't watch it.
There's that. Also,
support the movie.
Yeah, support it. And if you're into,
if you don't want to watch it, don't go trash it online.
Yeah. If you're into internet horror or ARGs too, I think it's worth watching to see how it can be executed in a film setting.
You're really into this Mandela
catalog
right now, so this is like super up your alley. But it was just lacking that one thing of just building tension, climax in the psychological or supernatural, whichever way it wanted to go, horror. If we were really hit on that, I would have been a fan. Not saying this film needs it. It might be perfect how it is for some people, but that's what I wanted. I think that's what you wanted. So that's where it's limited and lacking for me. But other than that, it's a valiant first effort.
For sure.
But anyways, moving on.
Bye.